Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Hold My Crown podcast. I am so excited that you are here. Today's episode is going to be power-packed with lots of advice on how to be successful in life, all the lessons that I've learned through pageantry specifically. So this episode will kind of bounce back and forth through tips and tricks that I have learned and how to apply them, whether you are competing in a pageant or in any area of life. So if you are a competitor, this episode is for you. If you are a mom, if you are a single woman trying to, step into her career, this episode is for every single person and men too. I just know we have a lot of ladies here, but for the men as well. This is for every single person because these are tips and tricks that have helped me reach success in my life. And I've learned them not only through pageantry, but through the discipline of martial arts and the many of lives that I have lived. I have lived all over the world. I've lived and worked in Germany, Hong Kong, spent time in the Middle East. I've experienced different cultures. I've been to Latin America, Europe. I feel like every single thing in my life, I've been able to have that perspective to look at things as something to learn from and to grow from and to better myself. But I have condensed today's episode into bullet points. So get out your pen and paper or your notes on your cell phone, or take even a little pause and take a voice note if you need to, so that you have these points to refer back to, because technically today's episode is kind of like themed. It's just themed a little pageanty, but this is for every single person in all areas of life to help you feel successful and help you feel like you can do and achieve anything that you want and you set your mind to. It's truly possible. And if you are watching online, you may or may not see me holding my phone. I'm trying to keep it low, but I have my notes too. I have my notes that can be clear and concise for you, these steps that have really helped me, and then they can also be transferred into your life. You can take them from today and use them in any area of life. So the first thing, and this is what I tell all my pageant clients, is confidence is everything. Confidence is everything in any single area of life. And the first bullet point, if you're taking notes, I want you to write down, walk like you belong. So that's just a fun way to remember, like, you better walk into that room like you belong, like you are there. One of my favorite Bible verses when I was competing is, perhaps you were born for such a time as this, Esther 4:14. And it reminded me that when I walk into a room, I am here for a reason. I am here on purpose, and God put me in this room. So I'm going to stand in that confidence. And I want you to listen to me right now telling you, stand in your confidence, take a deep breath, and walk into that room like you belong there. I have so many memories of being on stage or going to an audition where I did not feel like I belonged. Let me tell you two quick little stories to give you a little visual, a little example, and then I'll let you know how you can translate this into your life. First one, I worked at Disneyland. I was friends with a princess, but before I worked at Disneyland, I auditioned and I did not book the audition. I didn't make it. I did not get hired. I walked into that room and I was terrified. I was nervous, and I had to do who did I audition for the first time? The first time they had me audition for Belle, and I was like, oh, this is perfect. I am brunette. I feel like I kind of look like Belle. Let me see if I can do that. And I got the script. I practiced. I thought I was ready. And then I was in that room in front of the people that were watching me, judging me, deciding if I was going to get the job or not. And my knees were knocking. I was shaking in my boots. My voice was shaking. And I did not walk into that room like I belonged there. I did not walk into that room like I was already friends with Belle. And you could see it in how I carried myself, even though I tried to fake it. You could see it and hear it in my voice. And it was not for me at that time because I was not able to walk into that room with the confidence that I needed. Cut to 1 year later, I really wanted that job still. I practiced, I prepared, I practiced in front of friends and family. And then I went back and I got the audition. They actually had me audition for a different character. I went in and I was so much more confident. And I really did my very best, even at a young age, to just walk into that room like it was already mine. Like that job that I wanted was something that I already had, and I was just showing up and performing the job that I already had. And same goes for the pageant stage for me. There's so many times where I was nervous and I did the kind of fake it till you make it. And sometimes that works, sure. But when you really, really believe in yourself, baby here is saying amen. When you really, really believe in yourself and you know that you have what it takes, it shows and people can feel it. They can feel the difference. And I remember a very distinct difference when I had done a lot of like mental and emotional work to be ready. And that was before Miss Nevada. I've recommended this book so many times for Headspace, but it's Your Best Life Now by Joel Osteen. That for me was a game changer when it came to walking into a room like I belonged, because reading that book and taking all the little pieces of advice really helped me know who I was, whose I was, and to be able to stand and walk in that confidence. And it changed the game. It was a lot of mental discipline as well, which that's the start. You have to be mentally disciplined to tell yourself positive things and believe in yourself before you ever walk into the room where there's judgment or someone's deciding if they want to hire you or not, or if they're going to like you or not, whatever room or situation it might be. Walk into the room like you own it, like it is your moment to be there. So here's a little practical tip, because we have some bullet points and we have some practical tips and takeaways. Today, the practical tip is, so before you walk into any room, take 3 deep breaths, at least 3, not just 1, 3 at least. Take 3 deep breaths, lift your chin, and imagine almost like you're on a stage, not in a cocky way, but in a confident way. This is your space. You need to believe it, and you need to walk into the room with those shoulders back, chin high, deep breaths, and just own it. You can do it. Number 2, again, we're taking notes if you're listening to this episode. The power of preparation is everything. The power of preparation is everything. I have shown up to auditions and pageants and everything else in between not being fully prepared, and I have shown up 1000% prepared. I felt the most prepared for any competition when I was getting ready for Miss USA. I did a lot of work to get ready for Miss Nevada and Miss Universe, the 2 other bigger pageants that I won. But Miss USA, I felt like I left no stone unturned. I was ready. And it's not glamorous to be putting in the hard work behind the scenes, off camera. It's not when I'm working out at the gym 2 times a day, 2 hours total a day, when I'm meal prepping and eating 6 meals a day, when I'm spending an hour on interview prep a day, when I'm walking every single day. That's the grind, but that's the effort that it takes to show up and be successful, because I know I left no stone unturned. I had incredible support. I had coaches. I had people in my corner. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, it was my job to show up and do the work and prepare. And it's not glamorous, like I said, but the hard work pays off. And so for me now, like, we're not all in pageants. Everybody listen here, you're not in a pageant. You're in different areas of life, or you may be in a pageant, who knows? But now in business, in motherhood, I have to do the hard work in advance and the tedious work sometimes to make sure that I'm setting myself up for success. Whether it's mapping out the week where I can schedule the nanny in the mornings, and when I have a nanny in the house 2-3 days a week, what am I doing to make the most of that time? I block it out. I block out 30 minutes for a workout. I plan my Instagram work, because that's my job as well. And I'm so grateful that that's my job and I can do it from almost anywhere, but I have to do the work to plan it out. A lot of people don't know the behind the scenes of that and how much time it takes. It's not hard work, but it's tedious work, and it takes a lot of time to plan everything out and execute appropriately. But that preparation gives me freedom later. And that's the key for any area of life, no matter who you are listening to this podcast. So we're doing practical tips with every single bullet point. The practical tip for this one is, you right now, while listening, choose one thing you're going to get ahead of this week. Choose one thing that you're going to plan out or prepare for that'll make it easier on the back end. You do the work to plan, do the work to prepare, do the work to execute whatever it needs to be done in advance, and then you can take a deep breath and enjoy it more. I say that to my pageant clients. I'm like, do all the hard work now. Maybe be a little extra tired, maybe be a little burnt out, a little, not a lot. We don't want to burn ourselves out fully, but like, go all in now so that when you show up to the pageant, you can take a deep breath and enjoy every single moment. You get to be present with your fellow competitors. You get to just enjoy practicing runway walk because you're not trying to change something last minute or figure something out last minute because you already did all the hard work. So this week, make sure you choose one thing that you will prepare for and be specific. Write it down and knock it out. Something that's also important is know your story or like know your messaging. That's the third point. So this for me is just a part of conversations, not necessarily being successful in doing your work or showing up as a mother or anything like that. But it does apply to pageantry and it applies to any conversation, whether you're talking to a stranger at the coffee shop or you're interviewing for your job, any type of conversation, knowing your messaging and knowing your story and knowing who you are, all of that is so important. And it's not something where it's like, well, yeah, I know who I am, duh. That's not always the case because I know for me going through pageantry, I knew who I was, but I hadn't really spent time thinking about it and kind of like fleshing it out. And pageantry helps you do that. It helps you analyze who I am and who I want to be, where I want to go, and really show up even more in a full way. For example, and this is before pageantry and even more so after pageantry for me, I volunteered while I was competing, of course, but I really got into volunteering before kids, after pageants. And that is something that was a part of my story because I love being able to give back, but I wasn't really, this is before pageants, I wasn't really able to show up as fully as I wanted to until I wrote it down. Like, this is a goal. This is something that I want to do. And I want this to be part of who I am. So when I lived in Vegas, I showed up and I volunteered at a women's shelter, especially with the children. But I also volunteered with the women, and it was a great way to give back. In LA, I had a long time where I was volunteering with Children's Hospital. That kind of shut down during the pandemic, but Los Angeles Children's Hospital through Project Sunshine. That's part of my story, part of who I am. I want to spend time giving back, but I made sure to write it all out so I could kind of see on paper who I am, who I want to be. So that was then pageantry, kind of a little bit of now, but today, who am I? I am a 4-3 black belt. I'm a women's self-defense instructor. I am a coach for pageant clients. I am a mother. I am a wife. All of those things are part of my identity. And beyond that, what else do I want to have be part of my identity? I want to start training in jiu-jitsu again. I feel like I need to write all of this out so I can see it. And then things that I also want to add into who I am. So I really have a good grip on who I am. And I'm able to communicate that when I'm talking with someone else. What do you do? That's easy to say. Gosh, a lot of things. I don't know. I'm a mom. But there's so much more to me. But if I can really remind myself, it's important to be able to communicate that. So here's a little question for you as a listener, whether you're competing or just doing life. If someone were to ask you, what are you here for? Like, who are you? What do you do? What do you enjoy? What are your passions? Internally and externally. Like, what makes you happy on the inside? What do you enjoy doing kind of on the outside? Those type of things. I want you to know what you would answer those type of questions. So our practical tip for this point is write your personal mission statement this week. Write down. It can be short and sweet if you don't have a lot of time and you're really consumed with things. I don't like saying the word busy, but like if I've got a lot going on like me, maybe write bullet points, 5 things that make up who you are. Or if you can and you have more time, write out your personal mission statement. Maybe for me, it's I empower women to step into their confidence on and off the pageant stage and into real world leadership. That's what I do through coaching. And then I can make another mission statement for what I do through women's self-defense. And then I can make another mission statement for what I do through motherhood and as a wife. And I love that I wrote down all these tips for you guys. And I'm like over here, like, I need to do that. I know what I do in coaching. I know my mission and the things that are external and for everyone else, but I haven't done that recently for in my home. So I'm taking my own tip. And today I'm going to write down what I want to do and how I want to be as a mother and a wife. I feel like it's easy to get lost in just wanting to show up and be a good mother, but I honestly haven't been spending as much time and attention as showing up and trying to be a good wife. So that's something that I'm taking away today for myself. That's what I can do for myself. I'm going to try my best to speed through these next 2 points so we can wrap it up and keep this a really powerful, compact episode for every single person listening. So number 4, this is so important to just being successful in life and also having a good perspective. It's grace under pressure. I cannot tell you how many times things have gone wrong when I was competing in pageants. And then I'll relate it to now, but let's talk about pageants first. I was Miss USA, about to walk on set at Good Morning America. And for some reason, I would just lean back on the thin stiletto of my heel all the time. That's just what I did, kind of like a soothing thing, like rocking or something. Well, I rocked back and both my heels popped and broke. The whole entire pointy part of the stiletto broke off. Oh my goodness. Literally 4 minutes before walking out to Good Morning America. I could have freaked out. I could have had a panic attack. I probably should have. But I took a deep breath and I was ready to go out barefoot. I sure was. Thank goodness, though, someone else that had the same size shoes as me offered me their heels to walk out in. And I was able to wear a cute pair of heels out to Good Morning America instead of my broken stilettos or going out barefoot. But just having grace under pressure, being aware of that in advance. I feel like having that headspace and mentality comes from mentally preparing yourself, knowing no matter what comes my way today, I will have grace in that moment. I will choose to take a deep breath and get through it with grace instead of freaking out, getting mad, getting angry. And that's so easy to do in any area of life, especially motherhood. I'm reading a book right now, and literally before coming here to record today, it was talking about thrive versus survive. And it's like there's so many moments in parenting where we're just trying to survive. We're trying to get through our screaming kid, our kid throwing a tantrum, our whatever going wrong, the kid's not wanting to get buckled in the car seat and freaking out about it, whatever it is. And it talked about shifting from a survival mentality to thriving and looking at every situation as a opportunity to teach your children something. Not constantly like, do this, do that, like that kind of mentality, but like this is an opportunity for growth, for the child to grow and learn. And this is an opportunity for me to grow and learn and become better. So same thing with grace under pressure. Point number 4, no matter where we're at in life, try to have grace under pressure. And all this advice that I'm giving you guys is really good for me. I'm like, dagnabbit, there have been some moments recently in the last 2 months where I have not had as much grace under pressure as I want to. I know that being intentional with your headspace before you start your day is everything. And I know that, but I'm not always doing it, especially because I'm often waking up with a baby laying next to me and I don't really have a moment to myself. But I'm going to try to be better for myself. And I hope you guys can take some good takeaways and be better for yourself as well, because we deserve it. We deserve to have that good headspace. So my practical tip for this point is choose your grace action this week. So when a situation triggers you, maybe the kids are melting down, a client request is coming late, there's a hiccup in your business, I want you to pause for one breath and choose a calm phrase for you. Maybe it's, I've got this. Maybe you're just reminding yourself grace. Remember, maybe you're saying peace to yourself. And then I want you to act from strength. So choose grace, choose peace, and then act out of strength. You have got this. Last point is celebrate others and yourself. Okay? We got to celebrate ourselves, but we also have to celebrate others. And I think it's so important to kind of take our mind off our own self for a while and look to celebrate other people. Oh my goodness. I am taking all my own advice right now. I wrote out all these bullet points because I do this often, but not all the time. And I feel like I'm in a season of life where I don't always do it. Throwing it back to the pageant journey, I learned early on that cheering on other contestants is so important. And someone else having the spotlight does not dim your own light. Think about having a candle. If you have a candle and you give someone else light, you are not dimmed. You're sharing your light with others. Same thing. It's not going to dim your light. You're not giving away your light when you're cheering someone else on. There's just more light for everybody. And for me in the pageant world, yes, I had my time competing in as Miss USA, but I've been able to use all that I've learned to help other women shine their light even brighter through coaching and guiding and mentoring them. And I love that I'm able to do that. And I want to encourage you to do that in your life. Right now in my life, There's a lot of built-in moments where I celebrate other people. Like the girls, when they go to work, I get to like be there for them, celebrate them when they're working on the show, Georgie and Mandy's first marriage. And when I'm working with and encouraging and celebrating my coaching clients, there's so many built-in moments in my life where I get to help others and have their light shine bright. But I personally want to go out of my way to celebrate other people more intentionally. So at the top of the 5th bullet point, I talked about celebrating others and yourself. So I have 2 practical takeaway tips for you. This week, I want you to pick one small win for yourself, whether you did like a 30-minute workout 2 days in a row, or you filmed and edited and posted a reel. I want you to celebrate yourself and really acknowledge it. Not like, yeah, I did it just because I had to, like, duh, like this is what I have to do. No, celebrate yourself. Be grateful to yourself for those small wins. And I also want you to be really intentional to celebrate someone else. Send them a text, shout them out on social media, give them a hug, tell them in person how grateful you are for them or something that you saw them doing. You saw them doing the hard work. You saw them showing up. Celebrate other people and celebrate yourself this week. And with celebrating others and yourself, when you know your worth, ties all the way back to point number 1, confidence. When you know your worth, you can genuinely celebrate and clap for other people. Give other people their flowers because you already know who you are. So the 5 bullet points, if you missed a note, let me share them really quick with you. Walk like you belong, prepare, own and know your message, grace under pressure, celebrate others and yourself. Which one of these are you going to practice this week? Or are you going to try to apply all of them? Let me know on Instagram so that I can cheer you on. Tag me, Real Nia Sanchez. I cannot wait to see which point you're applying this week or if you're applying multiple. Thank you for letting me walk this journey with you. Whether you're in pageants, whether you're a mother, whether you're in college, you're going out for a new job. I love that I get to encourage you and support you and be here for you. So thank you for spending time with me on this podcast. I really, really, really appreciate it. Make sure that you are following Hold My Crown Up podcast, Real Nia Sanchez, and you're here subscribed so you get fresh episodes every single week. I cannot wait to hang out with you next week on the Hold My Crown podcast. Thanks, guys. Bye. Yay Media Group.